Well, hello all my little friends. It is so nice to see you again, and I'm glad that you're here for story time. Today I have selected a book that both of my boys really like. Ben and Jonathan love this story, but I think it's one that you'll also like. It's a bit old-fashioned, so there's a couple of words I'm going to have to tell you about. The book I selected is called Caps for Sale. Caps for Sale. And the words you'll need to know are caps, which is another word for hat, and peddler, which is what this man's job is. And a peddler is someone who sells things on the street. So this is called Caps for Sale, and it's a really fun one. You're gonna like it. Oh, forgot my reading glasses. Silly Auntie Mir. Okay, here we go. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. First, he had on his own checked cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the streets holding himself very straight so as to not upset his caps. As he went along, he called, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street calling, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody wanted even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," said he, and he walked out of town slowly, slowly, so as to not upset his caps. So what he means is he goes slowly so that he doesn't knock any over. Whoop. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," thought he. And he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as to not disturb the caps on his head. Then he put up his hand to feel if they were straight. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, and then the red caps on the very top. They were all there, so he went to sleep. He slept for a long time. Must have needed a nap, carrying all those caps. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure that his caps were there in the right place. But all he felt was his own checked cap. Where in the world did all of his caps go? He looked to the right of him. No caps. He looked to the left of him. No caps. He looked in the back of him. No caps. He looked behind the tree. No caps. Where have those caps gone? What do you think? But then he looked up into the tree. And what do you think he saw? On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. Look at all those monkeys. They all have a cap. The peddler looked at the monkeys, and the monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking a finger at them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." Well, this made the peddler very angry. So he shook both of his hands at them and he said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook both of their hands back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." Oh dear. Well, now he felt quite angry and he stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, tss." Well, maybe if he used his manners, Mr. Peddler. By this time, the peddler was very angry, and he stamped both of his feet and he shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both of their feet back at him and they said, "Tss, tss, tss." Oh gosh. Well, at last, he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap and he threw it on the ground and he began to walk away. I wonder what the monkeys will do. But then each monkey pulled off his cap. These pages are tricky ones. Oh, I'm leaving you in suspense. Oh, and all the gray caps and all the brown caps and all the blue caps and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. Oh my goodness. They threw them down because he did. So the peddler picked up his caps and he put them all back on his head. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. And slowly he walked back to town calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." And as Ben always points out to me on this page, it says the end. Or sometimes you'll hear people say the end. It means the same thing. Well, what did you think of that one? One other trick I'll show you about this book. It's one of those books where if you open it up and you look, the whole front cover and the back is one big picture. That's always kind of cool to notice. I hope you enjoyed Caps for Sale. It is also a reading rainbow book, if that means anything to any of the moms and dads watching. Anyway, really nice to see you all. Hope you have a wonderful day. And I will see you next time for story time with Auntie Mir. Bye-bye.